Good morning. Please stand for the presentation of colors. Present. Up. Order. Up. Detail. Mark time. Mark. Ready. Move. Order. Mark. Good morning. Please be seated. On behalf of Chief Matthew Buckley and the members of the Riverside Fire Department, we welcome you to the first-time Celebration of Heroes. We'd first like to acknowledge some special people that are here with us today: Village President Benjamin Sells, Village Manager Jessica Francis, members of the Village Board, Executive Secretary and Village Clerk Kathy Haley, who I guarantee you has not forgotten what this day is about and what it means. And lastly, I need to acknowledge two groups that are here with us today that make this event so very important, at least to me. We are, and I am, so very grateful for the presence and participation of the Chicago Fire Department Pipes and Drums and the Mavis Division 20 Honor Guard. Since this is the first time that this event has occurred here, please let me assure you and emphasize that without their presence and participation, this would be just another 9/11 ceremony. Their participation, as you have already witnessed some of it, takes this event to a whole other level. We do an event similar to this each year at Stone Park in the afternoon. And a fire chief that was in attendance last year for the very first time commented after that it was the best 9/11 ceremony that he had ever attended. Both of these groups practice yearly, every week, to make these appearances such as this. They have given me the courtesy of participating with me at events that I've done for the last 11 years, and have always, to me, given this event the credibility and the dignity that it has. And when today's event is completed here, I'm sure that you will all feel the same way. I have tried in the past and have yet to come up with a proper and fitting way to thank both of them to show my gratitude. And I can only say thank you to each of you, individually and collectively. Thank you so much for your participation and professionalism. I'd also like to recognize firefighter paramedic DJ Mahalik, who is responsible for getting this room into the condition it is to welcome you, our guests. To begin, I'd like to share with you the following from President Abraham Lincoln, which so meets why we are here today as it did in the mid-1800s when he said it. The mystic cords of memory, stretching from every battlefield and every patriot grave to every living heart, should swell into a mighty cord of remembrance, gratitude, and rededication on this solemn occasion. On December 18, 2001, by a joint resolution of Congress, Public Law 107-89 authorized and requested the President to designate September 11th of each year as Patriot Day. With this resolution, President George W. Bush called upon the people of the United States to observe this day with appropriate ceremonies and candlelight vigils, and including remembrance services. Today, we honor heroes. I have personally conducted events like this for 11 years now. In 2006, after attending a ceremony marking the 50th anniversary of the events of today that so tested the resolve of the American people, I thought to myself, there has to be a better way. As this event is prepared for each year, I get many ideas into my head and I try to jot them down so that at some point I can sit down and put them all together so that they make some kind of sense. When Chief Buckley asked me to do this, I thought to myself, what do I want to say? Because this is the first event and it's important. I remembered once having a conversation with a village administrator who was confused as to why we were having the September 11th ceremony on a Sunday. I fought back the laughter and I explained to him, September 11th is September 11th. It's not September 12th. The official date on the thousands of death certificates from that day, with number one being in the name of Father Michael Judge from the New York City Fire Department, states September 11th. A CEO of another nearby community brought up the thought that maybe we should do this every 5 years because people lose track of it. Why? Why don't we do it every 5 years? We don't do it every 5 years because we promised to never forget. We don't remember these people every 5th year and then blow them off in the years in between. Never forgetting means never forgetting. Someone said to me that he can't relate to what happened on December 7th, 1941, because he didn't know any of the people. My reply was, well, shame on you. The unprovoked attack that day that plunged the United States in the largest war ever known to man, and we will never forget those people that went to the Pacific and the Atlantic theaters and fought so bravely, and we still, to this day, hold them in the highest of regard with a huge debt of gratitude for their service. There's a story that comes out of that war of some Marines hunkered down one night in a foxhole on the island of Iwo Jima. We will never forget those brave Marines who attacked that island and for 31 days fought viciously, suffering huge losses and death, and eventually came out victorious and were able to raise the United States flag on Mount Suribachi. The story goes that one of these Marines had been injured in a mortar attack and was in his foxhole, and his friend next to him couldn't get to him because they were told, at night, stay where you are, don't move, because anything that moves will be considered the enemy and it will be shot. So his partner sat in that foxhole and he talked to him all night. And he kept on telling him to hold on because when it was daylight, someone would be there to help. When daylight came, his friend got to his foxhole and he jumped in. And the injured Marine looked at him and said, go home and tell them that we gave up our todays so that they could have their tomorrows. He closed his eyes and he died. So we gather here today, many tomorrows later, to remember more heroes. This country is about heroes. It always has been. We saw the worst in humanity on September 11th, but we also saw it at its best. We saw it in New York City, in Washington, D.C., and in the skies over Shanksville, Pennsylvania. Doing what they raised their right hands and took an oath to do, 343 firefighters, 37 Port Authority police officers, and 23 New York City police officers didn't make it out of those buildings. And their brothers came back every day because no one's left behind and everyone goes home. And each day after that, we continued to hear and read, we will never forget. So here's what I decided to say. The front page of your program reads, preserve the promise. We took those words seriously, and we gather every year on this day to keep that promise alive. Why do we call this a celebration? We celebrate them not because they died, but for how they lived. In the fire service, every day we pass along to the new people duty, pride, tradition. We are the keepers of a noble tradition, but we're just passing through. And so each year I throw out the challenge to the new police officers and firefighters that they must keep this day alive and the promise that comes with it. I now throw that responsibility onto each of you. It is now on your shoulders. Make it happen. Don't forget them. We always ask for this point, for those that are present to help us celebrate these 403 souls for their courage and their example that they showed us by giving them a round of applause to the heroes of 9/11, never forgotten. It's only fitting that the keynote speaker for the first of what Chief Buckley expects and hopes will be many of these at Riverside, to be the person that the people of this community chose to be the Chief Executive Officer. I always find this part just a bit overwhelming. Back when I took public speaking in high school and then had to take that communications class that almost every university throws down the throats of their students, they never told me that I would be introducing state senators, United States representatives, and village presidents. I just somehow feel a little bit unworthy. So I humbly introduce to you, as the keynote speaker today, Riverside Village President Benjamin Sells.
Well, if anyone is humbled, I am humbled by that very kind introduction. Thank you all for coming. I'm honored to be here in the presence of heroes this morning. And thank you to all the people who worked so hard to put today together to make this a reality. You know, it was an ordinary day 17 years ago. It was a sunny Tuesday morning, much like today. People were going about their business. They were thinking about family and work. No one could have imagined the horrors that were to come that day. By nightfall, we had lost 2,977 of our fellow citizens, and our country was wounded by a cowardly assault. We still wear the scars of that assault today in the empty seat at the dinner table, in a child who only knows stories of a parent that she never was able to know, and in the continuing trauma suffered by the first responders, who on that day disregarded their own safety and they ran toward the smoke and the fire. As time goes on, the number of people who will have a direct memory of that day will inevitably decline. So the question for us becomes, what can we do to ensure that that day is never forgotten? There is an old meaning of the word memoria, where we get memory, that can help. In ancient times, memoria was not considered to be something of the past. It was thought to be something that inhered in the present, that was with us all the time. When William Faulkner wrote that the past is never dead, it's not even past. He was recalling this old way of realizing that the past is always with us. Under this old view, one of the best ways we can remember those that we lost on that fateful day is to carry their memory forward with us in our everyday lives. On every ordinary day, we have the opportunity to do something exceptional in their honor. We can stand against injustice. We can reject hate, practice tolerance, offer compassion, and protect the weak. When we embrace such opportunities, we preserve the memory of those that we lost on September 11, 2001. The first responders that are here today represent the decency, courage, and good that evil so desperately fears. The murderers on that day managed to kill innocent people, but their mission failed. The fact that we are here under this flag, extolling the ideals of freedom and justice for all, is proof of that failure. And the examples that we can set on every ordinary day will defeat them forever. May God bless the fallen and bring solace to their families and friends. May God bless our protectors who so bravely put service to others above themselves. and may God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you. I've always found this next section just a bit difficult to compose because it seems that no matter what's said, it always comes out that we're trying to blow our own horns. But paying attention to those that put their lives on the line every day, nevertheless, is necessary and is probably not said enough. The Roman orator Marcus Cicero once said, "Poor is the nation that has no heroes, but poorer still is the nation that, having heroes, fails to remember and honor them." Since September 11, 2001, the term brother has been used a lot. We must understand and teach those that are entering into the field of public safety that brother is more than just a word and that it has special meaning. I asked when we sat down to put this event together that we try to get as many first responders as we could to sit together in one area. I asked with a purpose. I wanted them to stand together as one, brothers. Brotherhood, we call this a brotherhood, we call each other brother, but it seems brother and brotherhood are reserved for September 11th. We must walk away from here today being brothers the next 364 days, because if we don't live it every day, why profess it at all? Then we all stand together as one. You police officers and firefighters that put that uniform on every day and you continue to respond, not knowing what the next call may hold. You all belong to a fraternity that transcends mediocrity. You are the enlightened 12% that keeps the calm with chaos all around you. Every day in this country, fires are put out successfully and bad guys are taken off the streets with little or no fanfare. Two simple words from a fellow worker, "nice job," are all that a person needs to make him feel that his or her efforts are appreciated. When you leave here today, leave here walking tall and walking proud. You truly are heroes, each and every one of you, and that fact has not gone unnoticed, nor will it ever. I'm going out on a limb here today. I'm going to speak on behalf of the citizens of your communities and say thank you for choosing your profession of service, and thank you for choosing your community to serve. Because of each of you, your communities are safer. A round of applause, please, to honor these heroes that are here today. A time-honored tradition for members of both police and fire personnel is that we remember our fallen. Traditionally, at this ceremony, we honor those that made the ultimate sacrifice the previous year by reading their name and ringing the bell for them. Ringing the bell today will be Riverside Fire Department Battalion Chief Kevin Karatko and Riverside Police Department Lieutenant Frank Lira. There were 135 police officers in the nation killed in the line of duty in 2017. Here in Illinois, Bloomingdale Police Department Police Officer Raymond Anthony Burrell. End of watch, January 19th, 2017. Forest Reserve of Cook County Department of Law Enforcement K-9 Drago. End of watch, June 14th, 2017. Illinois State Police Trooper First Class Ryan Matthew Albin. End of watch, June 28th, 2017. Chicago Police Department Police Officer Bernard W. Domagawa. End of watch, September 5th, 2017. Will County Sheriff's Office Correctional Officer Kevin J. Brewer. End of watch, October 14th, 2017. Chicago Police Department Police Officer Andre H. Van Voogten, end of watch November 2nd, 2017. Rockford Police Department Patrol Officer Jamie Joseph Cox, end of watch November 5th, 2017. In the nation, there were 93 firefighters killed in the line of duty. Here in Illinois, Homer Fire Protection District firefighter John Michael Cummins, last alarm, February 8th, 2017. Dalton Fire Department firefighter Lawrence Matthews, last alarm, June 10th, 2017. There were also 103 firefighter suicides in 2017. Finally, to remember all those people that died in service to the public on this day, September 11th. The men and women of today's fire service are confronted with a more dangerous work environment than ever before. We are continually forced to change our strategies and tactics to accomplish our tasks. Our methods may change, but our goals remain the same as they were in the past, to save lives and protect property, sometimes at a terrible cost. This is what we do. This is our chosen profession. This is the tradition of the firefighter. The fire service today is ever changing, but is steeped in traditions 200 years old. One such tradition is the sound of the bell. In the past, as firefighters began their tour of duty, it was the bell that signaled the beginning of the day's shift. Throughout the day and night, each alarm was sounded by a bell, which summoned these brave souls to fight fires and to place their lives in jeopardy for the good of their fellow citizen. And when the alarm had ended and the fire had come to an end, it was the bell that signaled to all the completion of the call. When a firefighter had died in the line of duty paying the supreme sacrifice, it was the mournful toll of the bell that solemnly announced a brother's passing. We utilize these symbols which reflect honor and respect on those who have given so much and who have served so well. To symbolize the devotion that these brave souls had for their duty, a special ring of 3 rings twice, followed by 5 rings, represents the end of our brothers' duties and that they have returned to quarters. And so, to those who have selflessly given their lives for the good of their fellow citizen, their tasks completed, their duties well done. To our brothers, their last alarm, they are going home. Please stand while the colors are retired.
Turn retreat, color. Retreat. Mark time. One. Ready.
Thank you all. Thank you all for coming today. Have a safe day, and please always remember. Thank you.